Okay, so in today's video, welcome to the uncut and our raw. Oh, start over. Welcome to the uncut and unraw season of this video. Please, here are some disclaimers that I'm gonna talk about. Number one. Never ever try to make funny content whenever you start posting stuff online, even though when you come to visit our stuff, whenever we live stream, record stuff, and many other things as well. It's gonna be a lot of interesting things, and you might see in the latest opportunity for this amazing moment, for this welcoming session. Now, this might offend some of you. Due to the latest event that was occurred since about 11 years, and I would say it has gone up to a point where everybody needs to start wrapping their own filming process. Now, whenever they go behind the scenes, the editors might need to take out which some of the parts are not that good, and how we can identify that it was funnier and funnier every time when we start going behind the camera and say something to anyone, like a message, for example, right? There is none other than just using a cutout session. There's a lead up point where they hold a stage direction that led up to a circumstance where everybody needs to go behind their own camera recordings whenever a person was trying to start saying something through a podcast, or maybe just identifying what's really gone up to you. I know you might have to understand what the developers are asking. Some of you might recommend that a cameraman might need to sit up straight or stand in a proper position. Now, when you go inside into the studio or headquarters, you may realize that the camera angle was tilting because it's not even fully upright. When they actually try to make a better recording, you would even notice that they're struggling to make a final statement. When they use the paper according to that one line, it usually get messed up, and people don't know what they say throughout their whole entire pod, right? These paper lines will identify that whether if a person is speaking, that person may need to speak first, and then the next person will go and say the recording. It's not easy for anyone to do this, whether if you're nervous at looking at anybody. It's just like going up on stage and talking to a live audience. Now, you may see a difference between the stage and the studio recording. When you share someone or something that you may need to prove a point or an idea, say something directly to anyone that you know. If it's a stranger, don't listen to them. Just keep it in your own perspective. Their minds will be delicately exposed to this one person that could try to blame other people, which is not that executive. Due to that one cognitive problems that they have, their brains could have swollen easy. Nobody should ever lose their mind, right? Their thoughts can lead into a lost memory. They would be sent into a hospital for 12 months. After that surgery that has been taken, people would identify that they must be older than them due to how much taller they would have to be. You know, I don't really recommend on choosing that preference. But sometimes I really need to prove a point onto everything that has been stated through this one particular problem. Now, if they were trying to go record something at a fancy place where they allow people to stream IRL, and the manager would say, I'm sorry, you would not be able to stream in any different places because it can lead into federal law agency. There's a certain proof or evidence that they could have been totally differentiate. The problem is nobody could ever stand up for themselves. They just break every single law that the Constitution has been stated towards the identity of that person. And they are not happy about people that are trying to obey the law, but defrosting the amount of people were trying to beg for this accusation of fighting in many of these war crimes that were being settled. This opportunity could be a false statement. Nobody should have been totally made a disagreement about everything. Nobody could have been totally get lost through this one particular nonsense that are truly gone up and beyond. It is not fair to lose their privileges like that. When they start to misbehave, the judges would think that this person was not following any directions towards their teachers and anybody that has been going up to. Most principals can identify a student that were trying to negotiate or hurt their feelings, and people would get mad at them easily. They wouldn't even trust every single student that catches up lying, sneaking into stuff, and trying to misbehave all day. Personally, I'm the guardian of this world, and you too can help us out. Whether if we go back to school or not, we shouldn't assume things until we get a bunch of notices from our executive manager or even their principal. And sometimes when we have to write a letter about someone misbehaving and stuff, they would have to lose their point or deduct them right away. People should have been totally secret about having new law judgment. People who work for Congress may need to apply more things that are fairly towards the US government. This is not how an example should be. Whether if we try to become as a president or re-elect as a senator, people at the Oval Office may need to take their time on working on economics and learning how to cooperate and making a final statement towards the interviewer. It's like when you are on a social media platform and they ask a bunch of questions from you guys. People in the comments always think that nobody should ever comment a weird question like this before. They would not been happy about many different progressive and aggressive things that has been gone up for at least 30 minutes. The knowledge could be smart. Sometimes we need to think carefully and not choosing the wrong path. Besides, not noticing anything that were weird can totally make a true statement about learning stuff that are aggressive or new to each other. Listen directly. When you hear the word, all you must do is say the correct word that had been told. And make sure you comment the word I said correctly. Listen to the word. Independent. And here is a definition of the word independent. Independent means something you can do for yourself, or having to get known as each other directly at in-person schools. Here's a sentence of the word important. This law case should be important no matter what, because our rules can be led into its own security. Another way of saying the word differentiate can represent the idea of choosing as an example of many words that you can define as. If you don't know what word you can read, look up a dictionary. Think about something you may need focus with. Attention can catch up to your mind. Notice how you feel. Think about the stuff you learned, or what color you see. No matter how you study well, you can get yourself a report card by the time if you did pretty well on your test. Sometimes your minds can be tricking you into one realistic problem. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question and make sure to comment your answer by choosing the correct word. Are you ready? Here's my first question. Do you think it is okay to not listen to the US government when they try to bully against criminals? And why is that important or not important to many other people that were trying to disobey? How can you understand that if a person was trying to not focus or listening to their own attention to the judges? What if the US Supreme Court would try to disobey their law and put a new signal into its own strategy? Is it gonna fit out for them or not? What made it possible to not think over clearly? Would it be a personal reference based on their quality? What maximum level could the US government basically have? Now, I asked you a bunch of questions and you might have to answer them in the correct way. If you don't answer them correct, you might fail this video and end up losing by 10 points each. But if you answer them correctly, you gain 30 points. And you might also win an emoji based on the comment section that you guys answered. I know it's a long 15-minute video, but I had to do this fairly and easy. It It's not hard. It's kind of simple. I just don't want to fall for your tricks again. Just make sure everything has to be straight and positive. From now on, we are here to not bully you. Forfeiting can be bad also. When we misbehave on someone you know, tell them that a person was trying to cyberbully them. They're not your friends. There could be a harassment going on. And the bully would say, I'm sorry for everything that we did wrong. And I promise that we should never ever do it again. And then a person comes up, which is a boy that is totally nice to their partner, and starts saying, well, it's okay, please don't do that again. I promise that we should do better of its own behavior. And now we know that life isn't easy. Think of 3 ways you can change. What can you do instead of trying to neglect other people? Do you think it's okay for them to disrespect each other like that? How can you overfear that problem? What is the best thing you could do? Thanks for watching.